Hey guys, NSC85 back with another how-to video. Today what I'm going to do, I'm going to install a forward assist and the ejection port cover onto this forward controls upper receiver. The tools you're going to need if you want to do it properly are some roll pin punches. These are the 3/32. This is a starter and this is the full length, and we'll be using these to install the forward assist along with a brass hammer or just a small hammer that you'll be hitting the tops of these with. Otherwise, you don't really need any tools for this, just some decent finger manipulation. So let's go ahead and dive in, and we'll get this upper receiver built up. Typically the forward assist comes together already with this roll pin installed, and that is what connects the claw here. So typically your forward assist will already come pre-assembled like this. All you need is to place the spring over it, and then there's a roll pin. Now this roll pin is what keeps this in place once it's in there under spring tension, and it goes in this hole right here. Now there's a couple different ways to do this. I like to come from the bottom and then drive the pin this way. So once the pin is in place, like pretend it's in the hole there, it kind of sits here like this, and that is what prevents this from coming out of the upper, right? So it secures it in place. So I'm going to show you how I do it. There's several different ways, right? There's a million different ways to skin a cat. But what I like to do is I like to come from the bottom up, and I will start driving the pin in just a touch. You can see through here, right? If you drive the pin in too much, then you won't be able to get the forward assist in. But if you just get it started, it'll help you out in the long run by keeping it secure. So we're just going to tap this into place. You can see here I just have my starter. It's kind of just a shorter roll pin punch. Now you'll notice I don't have my benchtop protector on my bench anymore. That's just because I've learned that with those, there's too much give and it creates bounce when you are hammering on things. So I just use my wooden bench top. Okay, so it started, and as you can see, it's not even coming through yet, but it's secure in there. So now what I do is, if you are looking at the upper receiver as if you're the shooter, right? This is where the charging handle would be, the bolt carrier group. You want to install the forward assist with the claw going, it's a little bit exaggerated, but in like this. This is how it looks, because when it flexes out, then you can push the bolt carrier group. As you can see, it flexes that way. But you want it to curve in. So you'll be going like this, and you just put it right in here, and you can see it popping through there when you push it. And you're just going to want to make sure that's straight. Now you have to keep pressure on it while you pound this in, otherwise it won't work. And what I typically do is I utilize the lug and the upper to keep pressure with my fingers. Again, there's probably easier ways to do this. This is how I do it. And then I just hold it and continue to tap in. And you can keep checking to make sure that you can freely move it. And right about there you can see that it's now captured, right? So I don't have to keep my finger pressure on it. So it's captured enough that it's staying in place, right? It's not rotating. So now I don't need to keep my finger pressure on it. You could look at the dimples there, the all angles. So now you can just kind of take your time, get everything set up the way you need it, and then go ahead and just drive this home the rest of the way. Now when you start getting really close, like right here, I mean, it's obviously a tool. You can ding it up, do whatever you need to. It doesn't really matter if you end up dinging the anodized finish off. But I do like to make sure that it's even, both on this side and this side. You definitely don't want any hanging off like this. So just take your time. You can even go back to the starter punch if you have one, because you just want to get it nice and flush. So there's the top now. Got some bench dust on it. There's the forward assist, and then there's the bottom. Now if it bugs you and you get a little bit of silver showing, you can put a little bit of like that finish paint or whatever on there. But again, it's not a big deal. But you'll just want to make sure that the forward assist works and everything stays in place. So forward assist is now installed, and we'll move on to the port cover. For the port cover, we're going to be utilizing the hole here and the hole here, and then the port using spring tension goes here, and then when it's opened it comes down, right? So it's just a little bit finicky when it comes to installing it because of the way that the spring has to be oriented, but I'll show you that here. Now sometimes you'll end up getting this rod, and this rod is what goes through here and into this other side, and that keeps the port on a rotation axis, right? Now this tiny C-clip right here sometimes isn't pre-installed, and if it's not, it's kind of a pain to get on. Thankfully it's pre-installed on this one, so we don't need to mess with that. But basically you'll just take a needle nose pliers, play with it enough that you can get it into this tiny little slot here. You can see that. But because it's already pre-installed, we can move forward. So we have our port cover, and the orientation is like this. It comes down like this, and this is what it rotates on, right? So we have to come through here, through this, and then put the spring on and continue to move this forward. So this is a lot easier if you end up having a vise block. Not everyone has that, so I don't know, I've done it from my bench top several times, and that's okay. You'll see two legs on the spring. One is short, slightly bent. One is long and straighter. The long one goes on the right, and on this port cover by Forward Controls, you can see that they have the indent right there to signify that and to help keep it in place. What you want to do, you'll see how this is oriented. You want to take this leg and bend it around to create tension. Place that into place. And this is where it gets a little bit finicky because it'll irritate you, but you just got to be patient. Try and get everything as well lined up as you can. Get this right to the very edge of the opening there. Go ahead and twist that. And then as you hold it in place, you're going to want to push the bar through. I'll try and get you some good angles of that too. That you twist it like this, so the short one stays up, curl the long one down, and then you just feed it through. Again, it's finicky, so just work with it. And if that short leg ends up coming out from underneath, you have to redo it because you'll lose the spring tension. Because as you can see, it's kind of hanging on for dear life there. But just play with it. You can kind of get it set in place like that. See how the short leg is resting on the top there? If you get it like that, then you can just continue to drive it home. And once it pops through, and that C-clip is all the way up against here, then it is installed. So this is how it looks closed, and then when it's open. After you get this installed, right, proper function, make sure if you don't have a barrel nut or anything that you can put on here, because that's ultimately what ends up keeping this in. Make sure that you don't pull on this, because if you do and it comes out here, that spring is going to end up becoming untensioned, and you'll have to redo it all anyway. So make sure that if you are putting your upper together like I am, and you're waiting to do the barrel nut, that you just be mindful, maybe put a piece of tape here or something so this doesn't accidentally slide out or come out. But that is how you install the port cover and the forward assist on a stripped upper receiver. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day.